just to clarify, because this is super awesome, this is the Washington Monument behind me. This is not a green screen. I'm actually standing on the National Mall right now, and right over here is the Capitol. Better lighting this way. So to get started, I'm going to kind of give you a brief summary about what I'm going to talk about today, which is the fact that communication is irreversible, which means that not only can we not take back what we say, but I'm going to go into depth about the fact that what we say can speak life or death over someone. So to get started, I'm going to kind of give an example of, like a real life example of what this looks like. So imagine that I hand you a tube of toothpaste, and I have a plate, and I say, okay, I want you to squeeze all this toothpaste onto the plate. You're going to do that, la-di-da. After you squeeze all the toothpaste out, I ask you, okay, now put all that toothpaste back into the tube. Just like anyone who has a brain that kind of has common sense, they'd say, no, can't do that. So just like we can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, the words that we speak out into the world or that we say to people, we can't take back, which is why it's so important to watch the words that we speak to people, because they have a weight. So it's so important to just remember that our words have weight. At the beginning of this semester, when I go through the book and I'm reading, I always have a pen with me to highlight the things that are super important to me. And I came across a section titled Communication is Irreversible. And I immediately put a big star beside it. But it wasn't because I thought that information was going to be on the test or help me write my paper. It was because it related to me, and I felt like I could learn more about it and it would benefit me. So when I was told that I could pick any subject from modules 1 through 6 in my speech class, I was so excited because I immediately knew that I was going to talk about how communication is irreversible. So I did tons of research, read more in the book, got some information on the website. So now we're just going to jump into this, and I'm going to tell you all that I've learned from my research. Wow. Oh. It's really cold out here. So today I'm going to go over 3 things. The first being I'm going to go into more depth about how communication is irreversible. I'm then going to tell a personal story about how that has played a role in my life. And then I'm going to maybe walk you through some ways that you can watch yourself in high-stress situations so you won't say some things you would regret, because I know we've all been there. So with my main point being how communication is irreversible, I want to talk about the fact that it's not only the verbal words that we say, but we can send text messages, we can say stuff over social media, just through emails, whatever it may be. Anything that you send, you say, whatever it is, once the receiver receives that message, it's theirs to interpret and we can't take it back. So we can do everything we want and try to apologize or make them understand. We can backtrack, we can do all those things, but all in all, we can't take back that original statement that we said, which is why it's so important to keep that in mind. And so I'm gonna now tell a personal story about my life and how that's played out. When I was about 11 years old, I had to go live with my grandparents, and because just some stuff was going on in life, and so I was having I was in a rough place in life, and my step-grandma was not the most kind person. So not only was life rough, I had someone unkind speaking unkind words to me, about me, and it made things a lot harder in life. I think it affected my self-esteem, my self-worth, and I just viewed myself in a very kind of a negative way. When I was about 15, I lived with them for 2 years. So once I was back living with my mom, when I was 15, my step-grandma, she took me out to lunch and asked she asked me to lunch. There's someone walking by. I'm so sorry, I'm getting distracted, but I can't stop this. So she asked me to lunch, and she apologized. And for a while, I was like, wow, this is great. But still, when I see her sometimes, I'm like, wow, this doesn't feel so good. And I still remember those things. So an apology can only do so much. I have a scripture that's going to go with that one. Ephesians 4:29 says, Do not use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And so along with that, to just finalize this area, I just want to say, if those negative words that were spoken over me still have an effect on me today, it's the same for the positive words. So I just want to encourage any listeners that your words have a weight. So use that weight in a good way. Use that weight to encourage people, to lift people up, because just like it affected me negatively, our words can affect people positively. I'm sure you've had people speak positive words into your life, and they mean a lot to you. So what comes next is how in a situation where you're stressed, because usually when I say things I regret, it's in a high stress situation, someone hurt my feelings, I feel the need to be defensive. I'm just going to walk through how I deal with that and how I stop myself from not saying things that could be hurtful. So my number one thing usually is I need to take a step back and look at the big picture, because most of the time that thing that's upsetting me might not hurt my feelings or upset me as much 30 minutes or an hour later. So it's really important to look at the big picture, because often when we look at the big picture, it's not as big of a deal as it might feel in the moment. So that requires you sometimes to step away. So if it's in a situation where you need to step away, you can ask the person, hey, can we revisit this? And most of the time they'll respect your boundaries and you can come back to it and talk about it calmly. Not only will that person feel loved and valued enough that you wanted to stop yourself from saying something hurtful, but it'll just grow that relationship, which is so important. Also, if the person is not so respectful and they don't understand why you want to be silent or why you want to step away, you can be silent and just not say anything, and you can let them say the things they need to say, and then later on you maybe could explain, this is why I didn't say anything, which was because you didn't want to say anything hurtful. And I also have scripture for that, which it says, even fools are thought wise when they keep silent. With their mouths shut, they seem intelligent. So in conclusion, I just want to say that if you are ever given the choice to either encourage or put down someone, that you'll choose encouragement. Because like I said before, our words have so much weight, and so use that weight that you have to bring positivity into people's lives. And I can assure you that you will benefit from this. How could you not benefit from encouraging someone? The people that you encourage, your friends, your family, they're going to feel loved and valued when you speak life over them. The end.